Good morning, everybody. Welcome back. Thanks for your patience from last week. I was back home visiting some family. I hope you didn't miss me too much. So for today, we're going to be doing a lot of twisting and lunging. See, often when we sit in all of our day and we're in this position right here, we don't get a lot of rotation. We don't get a lot of opportunities to lengthen our body. So the idea for today is that we're going to take a little bit of time to move our spine side to side, a little bit of time to move our hips side to side, and likewise with our shoulders, really big circles as well. So all you're going to need is a little bit of ground space with the mat. We're going to start with a standing position. So I encourage you to stand up, make sure you have a little bit of space around you. And first thing we're going to do is just try to get our heart rate up a little bit so that it makes all of our stretching a little bit easier afterwards. So I'm going to have you guys facing from the side here. We're just going to start with a really easy march. Pick those knees up towards your chest. Take your time to get your balance. And with each passing rep, can we get those knees just a little bit higher? And I'm going to invite you guys to try to connect with your breath a little bit more now. So taking some deep, big belly breaths up into the back of your ribs. And at this point, just get really tall, head up, chest up. When you breathe out, I want you to think about fogging up a mirror. So really blowing all the air out as hard as you can in an effort to engage our diaphragm and some of those deeper core muscles. Awesome job. Okay, we're going to pick up the pace a little bit, and I'm going to encourage you guys to come up on your tiptoes a little bit. So as you finish that march, pop up on the toes. The secret here is that our calves are actually a really great pump of blood that starts down in our feet, helps to circulate blood through the whole body. So if you've been sitting for a while, you can think of this as just refreshing all the blood through your body, getting some fresh nutrients to all your organs, including your brain, which we often need to be performing at work. All right, so I'm gonna have you guys come on down to your mat. So we're gonna take both knees down. We're gonna do a little stretch called Spider-Man. We'll place our hands on either end of the mat, feet to the back of the mat to start, and then we're gonna step up with our left foot to our left hand. Try to get really wide and out in front of your hand. If you have trouble accessing this position, just put your knee down. But otherwise, we'll keep it hovering. I'm going to take my inside elbow, so the instep arm, try to drop it down to the heel. And then I'm going to slowly rotate open to the ceiling, that same arm. I'm going to hold here for a couple breaths. And with each breath, can you turn your rib cage and your collarbone open to the ceiling? And then you're going to come back down to the same thing, to opening up the knee, letting the chest fall to the ground. Couple breaths. And then opening up as wide as you can, twisting the ribs. Don't worry about the arms so much, just focus on opening up your chest. All right, and then coming down one more here. And finishing up. Get really, really big. Push the ground away with that bottom arm. Good. And then when we're in this position, I'm going to have you keep both hands down. And let's just open that knee out to the side a little bit more. So I find it helps if you roll onto the outer edge of your foot, squeeze your butt on that side, on the left side, and then pull it back in, pull it back out. A little bit cramping on the outside of the hip is normal. Bring it in, out, in, and out. All right, you can drop that back knee down, step back with both feet, back up into our plank, stepping forward now with the right leg, right foot to right hand. Try to open up that knee as much as you can, and then we're going to open up tall rotation here. Use your exhale to open up just a little bit more. And then back down, tuck that elbow into your heel. Good. And then open up the chest again. Bring that elbow down. And as you go through here, if you have any questions or you have any areas of your body you want to work on specifically, I can absolutely call an audible if you'd like to do something different. But today we're mostly going to focus on the hips and the spine. All right, last one coming down. Drop that elbow as deep as you can. Open up the hip. And place those hands down. So keeping your foot where it is. Again, we're just going to open the knee out to the side as much as you can. Think of pulling your knee away from your elbow. And then pull it into your elbow. Try to touch your elbow. Squeeze it gently. And then out. In. All the way out. And last one coming in. And out. All right. So let's take both knees down. Hopefully the hips and the back are feeling a little bit better now. We're just going to build on that now. So let's start with our left foot forward, right knee down. Stack your head right over top of your knee. So you're stacked. And we're going to take our arms in the air, reach up as high as we can. And as I do this, I'm going to push my hips forward and slightly lean back with my chest, my back. Big breaths here. And then I'm going to place my hands down on either side of my foot. And then I'm going to lift my hips and get a stretch to the back of this front leg here. So tuck the chin, try to touch your head to your leg, bring your ribs to your thigh. Big hamstring stretch in this sprinter's pose. And then we'll come back down. Call this an Atlas lunge, where we're going to reach out really, really high, lean back. You can pull your arms apart, show your collarbone to the ceiling, and then tuck everything in, come low to the ground. You don't have to push down too hard in the ground with your hands. It's more about loading that front leg and just sliding your hips back and lifting the tailbone to the ceiling. Whew. Definitely needed this today after a workout and a run yesterday. The body's feeling stiff. The idea now is just to breathe. Take whatever shape your body needs. You might find exploring a little bit is nice, side to side. Listen to your body. You don't want to push through anything too intense. If you feel stretch right away here, just keep your knee slightly bent. Don't force anything. Just pause where you feel resistance and then breathe out. And as you exhale, see if you can relax some of that tension. All right, let's switch off to the other side. So switching knees, left knee down, right leg forward. I try digging into my toes on the back foot so I can push my hips forward, create that stretch in the hip flexor here. And then once I have that, arms to ears. Take a second to get really long from head to foot. And then big stretch. And if you struggle again in this position, keep your feet a little closer. Find it's easier to access this hamstring stretch here. You'll notice on this side, my hamstring's been a little bit strained from some soccer. Won't have as much access to some room here. That's what it's all about. It's just putting our body into positions that we don't normally get into, and just teaching our body that it's okay to be there, and using the breath to send that signal effectively helps to train you to get into positions more readily and more confidently. Because unfortunately, as we age, if we don't use a position or we don't use a pattern of movement, we lose the ability to get into those positions, because our body starts to see it as foreign or unneeded or even unsafe. Right? It's the same way if you've hurt yourself before, the position that you hurt yourself in, your body will start to reject it or avoid it or compensate to avoid it. So we want to make sure we're avoiding those situations so that we can pretty much access life and everything we want to do in our lives without fear. And last one. Tuck the chin, curl the spine down to the thigh. Ooh, crazy. Especially first thing in the morning, how much more limited we are. So if you don't already walk first thing in the morning or get some sort of walking in your day early on, I would encourage you to do that. It's a great way to capitalize on what I was saying around getting the blood flowing and getting some nutrients to the rest of your body. All right, guys, we're going to move on. This will be our second to last thing. We're going to work on our hips here. And this one's called the hip car. One of my favorite exercises for your hips. It's a little bit tough when you start, but feels amazing afterwards. Spread your hands out to the edges of the mat. Bring your knees so they're hip width. Tuck your toes into the ground. And we're just going to go ahead and posture up with our back. Bring our left knee off the ground. We're going to float the knee up to our elbow. Float it out to the side. Kick out to the side like you're drawing a big circle with the knee. Bring it all the way back into the midline and then hover it right back where you started. So in fact, we're drawing a really big circle with our knee, but the idea is not to move our lower back. So I want you to start with a little bit of lower back arch like this, like kind of the opposite of a cat-cow. We're going to go ahead and keep that arch. Try to pull the knee as high as it can go without moving our back. Knee off to the side. Bring it as wide as you can. And back in. We're going to keep that going for 10 on this left leg. And each rep, can you get a little bit more room? Can you pull that knee a little higher? Can you pull it a little wider without compensating or opening up too much to the right leg? And if you pause and you find a spot that feels a little spicy, take a pause, breathe, exhale through it, and then continue to go through slowly. That's the key here. We're not rushing anything. We're trying, again, to train our body to get into these positions in a safe manner so that we can get into them more readily throughout the day. And we got one more here. All right, shake out the wrists. You know, it's a little load on the shoulders, but bear with me. In an ideal world, you would do that back and forth. So forward for 10, backwards for 10, just to complete the set. But for time's sake, we'll move on to the other leg. So starting knee to elbow, pull it as high as you can go. Knee out to the side. Picture a dog peeing in a fire hydrant. And then you're going to lift that heel up to the ceiling. Bring the knee as wide as you can go as you kick back into a donkey kick. And then bring that knee into the center of your body as you sweep it through. All the way out to the side, heel out, really rotate the hip internally as you kick up. Take your time here. Embrace the burn. I know these are hard. Some of you, this might be the hardest thing we do all day, and that's okay. The main thing is you're showing up and you're taking care of your body now, putting a vote of confidence in towards self-care. And don't forget to breathe here. Big breaths. I can already feel the hips loosening up. This is great. Tough at first, but man, do they ever just start to melt the tension away. You have your hips moving like butter after. And last one. All right. So let's come on up. This will be our last one. We're going to finish off with a standing position here. So now that our hips are moving well, our back's moving well, we're just going to put it all together into a compound movement, meaning we're going to do a large movement that uses multiple joints so that our whole body feels good after this. So we're going to take a really big step back, really big reverse lunge. Usually I'll go into that Atlas position here, so arms up, and then I'll finish with a high knee. So putting together the march and the lunge that we've done today. Big step back, get long with that back leg, and then Plant that big toe down for balance. Let's keep that going. We've got 30 seconds on this side, and we'll do another 40 on the other side. Take your time, get your balance. Let the knee drive over the toe. It's okay, as long as your heel's down. And let's go one more here. Make sure you're squeezing the butt as you come up. All right, let's switch sides. Shake it out. Big step back. Get some stretching here in the front of the hip. And then drop down. Up. Get that knee as high as you can go. Toes pointed to the ceiling. And then big lunge. All the way up. Squeeze the butt on the way up. Open your collarbone to the ceiling. This will be our last one. Finish it up. All right, my friends. Thank you so much for joining me. And I'm going to leave you guys off with a little bit of a dad joke here. I've been told in my run clubs that I am the dad joke guy. So in case you've watched this far, you got to have a little reward. So how can you tell if a pig is hot? He's bacon. All right, guys. Thanks so much for joining me. Hope you enjoyed the stretch. If you did, please comment. Let me know about it. And if you found this helpful, share it with friends. I'd love to keep doing these, but might need more than 1 or 2 viewers. So if you know of anybody that might benefit, please let them know. Thanks, guys.